a table, a chair, a bowl of fruit, and a violin. What else does a man need to be happy? Says Albert Einstein. Most of us have been programmed to think that in order to be happier and to make the most out of our life, we need to have more money, more possessions, more gadgets, bigger houses and cars. And the list of bigger is better goes on. However, there is a man in Tokyo who wakes up every morning before the sun. He folds his blanket, waters 3 small plants, and buys the same coffee from the same vending machine. And then he goes to work, cleaning public toilets. He owns almost nothing. He barely speaks. And yet, he seems more at peace than most of us will ever be. His name is Hirayama, from the film Perfect Days by director Wim Wenders. There is a stone water basin at Ryoanji Temple in Kyoto, left there by a lord in the 1600s. Carved into that basin are 3 characters, Taru, wo, Shiru. It translates to, know what is enough. According to the philosophy of Taru wo Shiru, the problem is not that we don't have enough. The problem is that we have lost the ability to recognize when we enough. Needless to say, this is exactly what the modern world encourages. Advertising tells us we are incomplete. Social media shows us people who seem to have more. This reminded me of what Kurt Vonnegut once said about his friend Joseph Heller. At a billionaire's party, Vonnegut told Heller that their host had made more money in a single day than Heller would ever make from his famous novel, Catch-22. In the film Perfect Days, Hirayama has stepped out of this race entirely. He has enough books, he has enough music, old cassette tapes of Lou Reed, Nina Simone, and Patti Smith. He has enough work, he has enough sky, and because Hirayama knows what enough is, he never spends a single minute of his life chasing the next thing, which means every minute truly belongs to him. There is a beautiful Japanese word that we need to understand, Komorebi. It means the light that falls through leaves, the way sunlight dances on the ground when it passes through the branches of a tree. Throughout the entire film, Hirayama photographs Komorebi. On his lunch break, he lies under a tree and looks up and he smiles. At light, at something completely free, at something every single one of us walks past every day without noticing. According to the philosophy of simple living, we have made a dangerous trade in our modern world. We were taught that attention is cheap and money is expensive. However, the truth is the opposite. Money you can earn again. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has worked with this in his exploration of flow, a highly desirable feeling of being totally absorbed in something, to the point that you lose awareness of yourself and the passage of time. However, the memory of sitting under a tree on a warm afternoon, truly noticing the light, that kind of experience does not depreciate over time. Philosophy of minimalism says, the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. Hirayama is rich because he spends his attention on things that do not expire. The warmth of morning light, a familiar song on his cassette player, a good book before bed. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit, says Aristotle. One of the most powerful things the film does is it refuses to make Hirayama's work seem small. He cleans public toilets. He uses a mirror on a stick so he can see under the rim. He does the same thing every morning with the same care, and then he does it again the next day. There is no drama in it. There is no glamour, but there is a quiet dignity that is hard to ignore. In our modern society, we are told that our job has to be our identity, our passion, our personal brand, our calling. According to Japanese culture, this is called Shokunin, the spirit of the craftsman who honors the work not because it is important in the eyes of the world, but because it is his. Take example of a sushi chef who has made the same rice for 40 years, or a carpenter who planes the wood one more time when nobody is looking. Needless to say, this is the opposite of what the hustle economy teaches us. We are told to always be scaling, always be optimizing, always be reaching for the next level. There is one line in Perfect Days that stays with you long after the film is over. Hirayama's young niece asks him when they will see each other again, and he tells her, very gently,
今度は今度。今は今。
Next time is next time. Now is now. Let's say you are having dinner with your family. However, instead of being there, your mind is already at tomorrow's meeting. According to Buddhist philosophy, most of our suffering, the kind we feel late at night when the day is over and we don't know where it went, comes from this one thing. We are never where we are. Buddha says, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Thich nhat hanh. He says, and I quote, drink your tea slowly and reverently, as if it is the axis on which the world revolves. Slowly, evenly, without rushing toward the future. End quote. Hirayama washes his face in the morning. That is the whole event. He is not thinking about cleaning the next toilet. He is just washing his face. Peter Wybrow, in his book American Mania, says that we evolved to live in a feast or famine mode. But in the modern world, the feast never ends. We are surrounded by constant stimulation and consumption, and our ancient brain does not know when to stop. So what can we learn from a life of Hirayama? We are probably not going to quit our jobs, sell our stuff, and move to some quiet place. That is not the point. The point is smaller, and in some ways, harder. Today, when we go home, we can eat our food and only eat our food. We can look up at a tree if we can find one. We can listen to one song all the way through without doing anything else. We can do our work, whatever it is, with a little more care than we did yesterday. Philosophy of simple living says, this is the whole practice. By practicing these, we will not feel our life get bigger. We will feel it get quieter. And one morning, without noticing when it happened, we will wake up, step outside, and for the first time in a long time, we will not be chasing anything. And that day, we will finally understand why Hirayama smiles. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more empowering content. And if our content has inspired you, consider supporting our channel by becoming a member or giving super. Your contributions enable us to keep delivering valuable and uplifting content. Thanks for watching.